9 o'clock. If you would please, we have all 7 members present. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Led by, what would you, Chuck today?
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Like Mr. Cox said, they want to get a picture of the new council, the person, the Republican, want to get a picture. Yep.
Yep, right here.
All right.
Down, Don, that's, never mind. Don't say it.
You want us to sit down or stand
I
up or
like
what?
standing, that works way better. When Nancy talked about a rose between.
You need us to scoot.
Yeah. We got our new guys on there, yes, Chuck, beautiful, we have a couple more in case you're blinking. Thank you very much.
And then before we get into the organization and that, when I spoke with Larry yesterday, he said something about a.
Yeah, I would like to move that we amend the agenda. We're going to be considering a resolution for the Avon Washington Township Library resolution. Now this is, if it passes, this will be signed by the president of the council. And we have done this previously, so this is kind of a correction, I guess. And I thought it might be well for us to have Eric sign the new resolution so it's consistent with what was signed previously, rather than raise questions, potential questions. So I'd like to, before we change our organization.
Just so you know, I'm not running again for president,
Yeah.
so that's why. I don't know if it matters or not, or Rhonda.
We haven't elected officers for this year yet, so.
I'm sorry?
We haven't elected the officers for this year.
Correct. So I thought if we do the resolution now, then Eric can be signing that, so it's consistent with what he's already signed.
We would have to elect him for this year in order for him to sign.
He's still president right now.
But we elect officers for the new year,
Right.
starting January 1.
I don't know if this makes any difference, Larry, but that is not a correction. It's reappropriated for 25. We did it for
Okay.
24, but it's new for
No,
25.
okay, all right.
So yeah, I don't know if that makes a difference.
All right.
Never mind.
I think it's fine for the new president,
Okay.
whoever that might be, to
Okay.
sign. It's a brand new appropriation.
Okay. You good, Larry? I just thought I'd bring it up because I didn't know if it mattered or not. So first up is election of the president. I'll open the floor for nominations.
I nominate Larry Scott.
Mr. Wyeth nominates Larry Scott,
Second.
second by Mr. Hessen. Does anybody else want to make a nomination? With that, we'll close nominations. All in favor of Mr. Larry Scott becoming president of the county council, please say so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Before I go, though, I want to welcome new council members, Nancy Marsh, Chuck Parsons, our new auditor, Ann Stark, and not new to the room, but new position, Brad Wicker as commissioner. Thanks for joining us. All right, Larry, you can take over. You want to twist bases, or you want to sit there and do it?
I'm
the
good
devil.
here. 6 more now.
There you go, okay.
For now, anyway. Okay.
And congratulations, Larry.
Thank you. Thanks to the council. Thank you. Now I'll open the floor up for nominations for vice president. Nominate Dave Cox.
Second.
I'll second it.
Is there any further nominations? I'll just close, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now for the council appointments. The first one we have to consider is the Area Plan Commission.
I would like to take an opportunity to serve on that. And I currently serve on the Economic Development, give that one up.
I would also like to serve on it.
So we have two that want to serve on this. guess we'll have to take a vote on it, or?
Yeah.
So what would the order be on, Rhonda, what would the order be since there's two?
If you'd like to first vote for Dave and take a roll on that, and then take a roll on the other nominee,
Yeah.
Eric.
Then on Eric? Okay. First off, we'll take a vote on David Wyeth to represent us on the Area Plan Commission. Those in favor?
Aye.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Got to get used to this, sorry.
Aye.
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 Nay.
I'm sorry,
And those,
who are we voting on?
we are voting on Dave Wyeth.
Okay, all right.
And so I asked for votes for aye, for those
Okay.
in favor. Okay, so we've got we've got 4 votes in favor. So that's a majority. That would be the end of it then?
So the votes were, let me get that right. Who voted aye for that? Chuck, Dave, Larry, and Dave. Okay, so that's a majority.
Yes. Okay, so David Wyeth will represent us on the Area Plan Commission.
I would like to say that I think either one of those guys would have done a fantastic job on it.
Of course.
I know I have one concern about now that Gentry isn't on the planning commission, that David kind of rebalance a little bit the agricultural side of that. So that was the only reason I leaned that way. But it was,
And that was
just
part of
both,
the,
either guy would be great.
and that was part of the reason why, Dave. Bob and I had that discussion shortly.
Next, anyone interested in the EMA? I currently am on that board for EMA. I was wondering if
I'd be
Chuck
willing to
might
serve,
want to
yes.
be on that since you're new.
I'd be willing to serve, yes, sir.
He has
Okay.
some experience there.
Anyone else? Okay, the Fair Board, currently it's Dave Wyeth. Is there other interest?
I'd like to continue that due to the fact we're working on a long-term study on the fairgrounds.
Anyone else? Okay, so Dave Wyeth on the Fair Board. The Economic Development, currently is David Wyeth. Are you,
I think Eric would be good for that one. If Eric's willing.
Sure.
anyone else? Okay. Next is the Health Board Liaison, which is currently Larry Hessen.
I'm willing to serve, but if anyone else wishes to do so.
Anyone? No?
Do a fabulous job, Larry.
Mr. Hessen will continue on that. Senior Services is David Cox.
I'd be happy to stay there.
Anyone else? Solid Waste, we have had 2 members, Caleb Brown and Eric Watson.
I would like to know that.
Would you want to replace Caleb on that? Okay.
And I'm fine if somebody else wants to take it. I don't.
I'm willing to step in for that, for Eric.
I'm sorry,
No,
Chuck.
I didn't.
I'm willing to step in the solid waste in lieu of Eric.
Okay.
Caleb, welcome aboard.
So,
We both started writing Caleb.
Yeah.
We'll just start getting Caleb in place.
okay, so
Nancy and Chuck.
so we'll have Chuck and Nancy then.
Those are early morning meetings, I believe, like
That's what I heard.
7, 8.
Yep.
Once a quarter, though.
YAP is David Cox.
I'd be happy to stay with that.
Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Cox. The Communication Center is Eric Watson.
I'm fine being on it. It's not that big of a commitment that anymore. Now all the funding's figured out, sure. Unless somebody else wants to do it. I mean, I'm not.
Eric's great.
Okay. Mr. Watson will continue on that. Purdue Extension is David Cox and Eric Watson. Are you guys okay on that?
That's not open to It's a white line.
Yeah, it's, comes in the middle of the year, but
But if somebody wants to do it, they can.
yeah, it's a July,
On top of that either.
it's out of sync with the rest of the
Oh,
appointments.
okay.
Imagine that.
We
Yeah.
usually do that in July or June, because that'd be before.
Okay, so we'll just,
Yeah.
we'll stay there then. The HCCVB was Caleb.
I will also
Are you
take,
good for that?
I'm good for that if that'll happen.
Okay. The Regional Transportation Authority is Larry Hessen.
That and the community corrections are appointments by the commissioners.
Oh, community, they are?
Yes,
I said the Regional Transportation Authority. I'm sorry.
yes.
Yeah, that's an appointment.
That's, and I'm still,
You're on that, but.
I still have a couple years left on my
From the,
appointment.
okay, all right.
That's why it says there.
And
County
you've got,
Commissioners.
okay, here. And then we have the Hendricks College Network, which I'm currently on, which I'm willing to stay on that unless
Yeah.
someone else would like to take that.
She sent me an email and said that you go until the 27 year, 2028. I'll have
I'm
to,
good until July.
you're good for a couple more years.
I don't know if he's gonna last that long.
I thought I was getting annual appointments. I'm gonna take off. Okay, I'm there.
I think you're more tight on that one.
I think so. Okay, I believe that takes care of the appointments. Next is the approval of the council calendar.
Hold on, we still have some
Still
more.
have these down here.
Dave's down here.
Oh,
I'd make a motion to reappoint Nick Smoot to the alcohol, is it Smootty or is it?
Yes.
Smootty, to the Alcoholic Beverage Commission.
I believe that's a Democrat position, and he is a Democrat, so I'm fine with this.
does there need to be a second on
That'd be a second.
that? Okay.
I was
Any
noticing on
discussion?
his form
Oh.
that it wasn't totally completed.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
saw
bring
that.
that up.
Yes,
My
we,
second would be with the understanding they finishes answering their question.
yes. The original form, he does not remember if he brought it in or did not. So he will be contacting me after his next meeting.
I don't think he realizes it's a yearly appointment.
Yeah, I reminded him and he couldn't remember which year he was thinking about, so he will be
Yeah.
coming in to finish.
I think this would be his third year. I forget the gentleman's name, he's passed away, who was on the board for 20 years,
Yeah.
30 years.
So if you do appoint him, I would make it with the condition that he come in and finish completing the form.
I think that was a motion.
Okay.
That'd be part of Eric's motion, I
Yeah.
second.
Okay, is there a second? Dave Cox, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimous.
I'd make a motion to reappoint the Tom Donner to Avon EDC, Gary Avery to Brownsburg EDC, Jerry Vollingholt to Danville EDC, and Scott Slavens to Plainfield EDCs.
Is there a
Who,
second?
who did,
Those are nominations only.
Who'd you say for
so
Brownsburg?
Brownsburg is not on the person,
That's not Gary Avery, that's not,
No, it's Michael Minor.
Michael Steiner.
so,
why is mine saying Gary? Oh, I got the one that you sent, it must,
last year's.
okay.
So we'll get through this in a
Michael
minute.
Donner. Make that, so Brownsburg is Michael Donner.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Hendricks County.
Yeah, I could.
I'll second the motion.
Too late.
I have a second.
Okay.
Is there further discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then I was on an email thread for the Economic Redevelopment Commission, and I know from the email thread that Judd Wolf, and I reached out to Linda, they're both interested in serving another year. To reappoint both of them,
And if they're interested.
they are interested, both of them are, yeah.
Okay, is there
I'll
a second? Second. Nancy, second. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous.
And I don't know about Peterbilt.
I talked, is Nikki, yeah, Nikki's here. I don't know if it was a yearly, I checked with Nikki before the
There's
end of the
new
year. and
legislation that I just actually found out about, so it is, it's like every other year, they're doing it an off year, so that there's never a time when it's all new people, and I honestly can't remember how that reads, but did we not just do Mark Ratterman?
The council did not. Andrea was the council's.
Okay, well then we probably do need to redo her.
I think she was appointed in 2020, so we have not.
Oh, yeah, I know she's still willing to serve, but if you want, I can get all that squared away and come back next month.
She is willing to serve.
Yes.
Continue. I recall she was a very good member of Peterbilt.
She is a good member. She brings a
I'll
lot of
wait.
really good knowledge.
I'll move we appoint Andrea Hopper to continue.
Is there a second? Second, Mr. Cox. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
We also need to do the Library of Coatesville. Kathy, the second one, Kathy Blake.
Make motion to approve her.
Second.
We have a motion for Kathy Blake and seconded. Is there further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Now, for approval of the council's calendar, I want to make a comment on that. The council has not been getting their agenda package until Friday before our meeting on Tuesday. That only allows us one business day if we need to contact someone here or someone, whatever, for us, if we need to, a council member needs to understand something. And my recommendation would be that we move that up to Wednesday so that we would have at least 2 business days. Now, that would affect the date, that would be the dates for the request for transfers, the deadline for that. Can that be moved up a couple of days?
So can we compromise and send it out on Thursday?
If we get it on Thursday, that would potentially give us 2 business days. Whereas like this particular time, we had no business days.
Yeah. I think Thursday would be good because transfers will come up to the last minute. So,
So are you the one that can set the last minute?
yeah. I'm okay with Thursday.
Okay, well, let's try that, if that will work for your office. So, because it puts a real load on us.
You may want to set a deadline for when the agenda is set, because that kind of, everything that follows, so like, would you have a date that you would want to say if you want to be on the agenda for the next council meeting, that you get it to you by a certain date?
For anything, yeah.
Because everything follows kind of that structure.
Are there any thoughts on that from the council?
I don't have an issue with the way it is now. I've never had anything on the council, on the agenda that, I mean,
I can give perspective from the auditor's view. Council only meets once a month. So my view as auditor was, allow things as late as possible because it's going to be 2 months, if it gets bumped back at the last minute. So I just always try to accommodate. I do understand, but and it's hard to get last minute things. And maybe if they're stopped, that might be a wake-up call. But because we only meet once a month, I just try to accommodate everybody. maybe that's not right. And I get it that you don't get it early enough, and maybe piecemeal it, like if something, say the salary ordinance got done, send it out separately, possibly, but that's confusing too.
Or the worse for hands.
If Thursday would work for you, for your office, that would at least give us another day.
Okay.
And we can try that and see how we are. All right. Is there a motion to approve our calendar as stated?
Are these dates okay with everybody?
Well, the one column will need to be backed up
To accommodate Thursday.
for the transfers, if you give them the earlier date. Possibly. It's just always a push at the end, so
The transfers will still,
I think there was,
the request for additional appropriations is still on Wednesdays. Transfers is still on Wednesdays, so I think we're good.
They make a motion to approve the calendar as presented.
We have a
Second.
motion, is there a second? Mr. Hessen, second. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay, it's unanimous.
I do have a question, and maybe I should have brought it up earlier. Under the Benefits Committee meetings, it shows November 12th, following the Commissioners' meeting. November 12th, I believe, is a Wednesday. Is that,
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Veterans Day,
Well, it should be the
probably.
11th.
Veterans Day holiday, probably.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the commissioners'
Okay,
meeting is on a Wednesday that week.
okay.
They moved it back here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't met in November for the last couple of years, Larry, for our benefits, because we've already made all of our decisions like in August.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
always just something to be
TBD,
determined.
because they might cancel it.
Or something can change, or
Yeah.
I think especially with our stop loss.
Okay. The next item is our minutes from our December 17th meeting.
You better abstain. You better abstain.
Yeah, and Brad's here to sign them. That makes sense.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Waffen,
Second.
second by Mr. Cox. Discussion. All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
You'll abstain?
I'll sign as auditor and abstain as a member.
I guess you're abstaining too.
Well, I didn't want.
And Brad, if you could sign them, like, before you leave, if you're still here.
This moment, is there public comments? Anyone wish to comment? Being none, we will close the public comments. Under old business, we need to have a public hearing for the Avon, Washington Township Library Resolution 2025-01.
Open the public hearing.
I did open the
Okay,
public.
got it.
I don't think there's
See
anyone.
anybody?
No one wants to comment, we'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I'll move we approve resolution 2025-1 for the,
Second.
First one of the year.
Okay. Is there a second? Mr. Cox, second. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Ratifying end of the year 2024 transfers. It was a very long list, which I'm sure needs to be changed.
These were all the things that we expected to be transferred at the end of the year.
A lot of it was payroll, like the pennies here, the rounding, the adjusting, so that we don't have any accounts or funds in the negative.
So I assume we need a motion to
This is under public hearing. We normally don't do public hearings for transfers.
I
The,
think that's
the
just
public
confusing.
hearing was just attached to that resolution.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just,
Okay. So do we need a motion on that, or can we do
Yeah,
I
I
think
would,
better
yeah.
to be on the safe side.
who cares to make that motion?
Move to approve.
Mr. Wyeth moved to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Parsons, second. Discussion. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Now we have ratifying end of the year 2024 additional appropriations. I assume those are in addition to what we did in December, Eric.
So, unfortunately, we actually had an error of a quietest receipt that created a fund. It was actually put in the wrong fund. It was not discovered until after the fact. And therefore, we actually had claims that came through on an account and a fund that should never be in the negative. So we needed to move work release from 1122 into county general for part of their payroll for the last pay of 2024.
I did see the red numbers, so I thought there was something wrong.
Yeah, so 1120, the only funds that are allowed to be in the cash negative are reimbursable grants. And this not being a reimbursable grant, an actual fund that we operate with, it's a slap in the hand, it's an alert. And we were able to fix it before we closed out 2024.
So we're in good shape if we
Yes,
take care of this action.
correct, sir.
Is there a motion to approve?
I might have a comment.
Okay.
This corrects what happened, which they shared. I was still in an office when this happened, so, and they shared with me afterwards, but it basically gives that department permission to spend this much money that she didn't have, so it's basically what is happening. It does correct the fund balances. But when she saw the balance, she thought that she had the money, so,
Oh,
from the errors.
Make motion to the additional appropriations as presented.
motion by Mr. Cox, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Watson, second. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Under new business, 2024/2025 encumbrances.
Mr. Red. I have one question I just want clarification on. I read through this whole thing.
Oh, it's encumbrances. That's the salary ordinance.
I thought that's what we were talking about.
Encumbrances, right?
No, we did, yeah, did we?
No.
Oh,
Encumbrances.
all right, I'll wait.
Looks like the engineer needs a lot of money, doesn't he?
I'm sorry, what?
The engineer takes a lot of money.
You had this, you had this preliminary list in December, and then we accept more as they come on, and all the balances change as people have paid their bills in December, so it's fluid, so these are the final numbers.
Okay. So we need to need a motion to approve? Someone here?
so moved.
Mr. Hessen, motion to accept. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Parsons, second. Further discussion?
Question.
Question?
John, I see the Bridge 290 on Dan Jones Road. Is that sort of a firm number or not?
That's a pretty firm number, yeah.
Okay.
It's been let. So, yeah.
Because I have about 14.5 million.
I'm not sure what you're looking at. The bid, I don't remember off the top of my head what the bid amount was,
Okay.
but we're encumbering we're paying that entirely out of Major Bridge.
Yeah, out of Major Bridge Fund.
Yeah, 14.5 is what we're encumbering in essence.
Yeah. 14,468.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
Sure.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted that to be reaffirmed.
I have faith in our numbers when we filled that form out. so.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, it's a bridge.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next item is our 2025 salary ordinance, which would be ordinance 2025-02. Mr. Cox, I think you have it.
Yeah, I have one question. The only thing I don't see covered in this was that, anything that addresses the, lunch time and the 35, if I have it right, the 35-hour a week employees have an unpaid lunch. The 40-hour a week employees, mainly highway guys, has a paid lunch, correct? And when we, back a couple of years ago, when we did the salary study, if I understand and remember right, we ran into those guys that were getting the paid lunch somehow were also getting an hour of overtime, so they were winding up with 7.5 hours of extra pay every week. Well, but was that overtime? That 5 hours was overtime, right? They put them over the 40 hours, right?
Correct.
So that would make it 7.5 hours of paid time. So when's your day start? What
We
hour?
work 9-hour days, times 5 is 45 hours.
Okay, why are we working 9-hour days?
So a lot of our work is out around the county. So if you work a shorter day, you spend a lot of your time just getting to the job and not working on the job. That's the primary reason.
Yes.
I think I don't know if that's something we need to address, but at least I think we should, mention it to the commissioners to take a hard look at that. Because to me, I never was really comfortable with the paid lunch part of it, but I can understand some of that. But the fact that the way it's laid out right now, they're getting 7.5 hours every week of extra pay. And I think the commissioners probably ought to look at the number of hours they have them working. I understand it during bad weather where, you know, you get overtime, or if you have one special project where you have to get it done. But, you know, so much of stuff is bid out anymore that I don't know why they can't stop it at a reasonable amount of time so they don't have overtime. So I think the commissioners ought to take part of it, yeah.
Does anyone care to make a motion to approve the salary ordinance?
Make motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the 2025 salary ordinance and a second by Mr. Wyeth. Is there further discussion? None being, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Opposed?
No.
All unanimous on that approval. Next item is our additionals. For this month, we need to have a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing in case anyone wants to comment on that. We have, yes, sir.
Hi, Jerry Varholt, Republican newspaper, 60 Main Street in Danville.
Can you come forward, please?
Yeah, I was wondering if it'd be okay if I could get a list of those appointments that were just made. It's really hard to hear
Yes.
you guys talking. If it would be possible to get them by Friday for next week's publication.
Yes.
Would that be, thank you, I appreciate that.
Can we get
What's that?
spelling of the last name?
Varholt, V-O-R-N-H-O-L-T. And on that line, I did know, and I know you don't have to answer, but are there any talks of recording these or video or live streaming these? They are being recorded,
They
so
are
does that pick up
They're
pretty well?
both video
Okay.
and audio.
That'll help a lot, okay, thank you. That's all.
Jerry, pick up, do you have an agenda?
I do,
Look at the top of the agenda.
thank you.
Jerry doesn't bring up a good point. For those of you, my hearing is not the greatest, but I know when I'm sitting out there for health board meetings, sometimes it's difficult to understand what's being said up here. And I don't know if we can explore the possibility of setting up some sort of system to make it easier for those in the audience to hear what's going on. I don't know if the commissioners would be willing to explore that possibility or not, but I think it would be a service to our employees and our constituencies to make what goes on up here easier to be understood out there.
I certainly agree with you.
John Grumman from the IT department. We actually do have microphones broadcasting audio lightly back here. We have a problem. There's an air handler actually directly above us. If we jack that volume up anymore, it creates feedback and, well, everyone doesn't like that noise. But we do have assisted listening devices that are recently added to our arsenal of tools. So if somebody is in need of one of those, if you have hearing aids with Bluetooth capability, they just kind of work, you put it on, we can check those out for you. If not, and you would like an earbud, we have a hygienic option that you can have a plastic earbud with that as well. So we have 10 of those units available, 5 per meeting space. So we have 5 for here, 5 in the other room, but they can be repurposed as needed. So if anybody is needing those, typically Mila would issue those out at the beginning of the meeting. But it is a new process for us, so bear with us, but we do have them available.
Could you put a nose outside so somebody
We're
can see
working on
that?
that, yes. We're, facilities, we're trying to find a good way to put that up without, sticking something to the wall. So, yep.
It's particularly hard to understand what's being said by someone who's in front of us, speaking to us. Those who are behind the speaker have difficulty. And I was wondering if maybe some sort of a directional mic.
Well, again, we are. So the mics above your head with the green circles, those are doing the pickup. If we were to boost their volume any louder through the speakers that are back here, it creates the feedback. So we've exhaustively tried. It's more a limitation of this space, this room, the air handler above, and the acoustics in here. We can produce through a speaker any louder, or else it feedback. It does that whine where, I don't know if you've heard that before. Yeah, we can't really boost it any higher.
I too, last week, I attended the commissioners meeting, and I was in the very back row, and I was sitting about where Mr. Vornhold was sitting, and there was quite often, I didn't hear all of the speech or all the talk, so, yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah, but we do have the assisted listening devices, so if anybody specifically would like one of those, you just wear it around your neck as a little earbud right here, and you can listen as if you guys were talking right in their ear, basically. So,
Mr. President, may I say something? Would a podium with short space with a microphone, kind of is like over there, we used to have a microphone on a podium over there where the speaker from the audience could walk up and speak into a microphone.
That's right.
that is right there.
That's that, so, but where they could walk up and speak, because I was in the audience too last week and I could not hear.
Yes, but again, we have boosted the volume levels as high as we can through the speakers back here. If we boost them any further because of the air conditioning unit above you in the ceiling, it will feedback. And that, but what I'm talking about, it does that where it whines. Yeah, we can't make it any louder through the speakers, unfortunately, because of the space.
Mr. President, this is a public hearing for the
I know it's a
additional
public
appropriations. Can we,
Yeah. So, any comments for the public hearing? None being, we'll close the public hearing.
move to approve 1 through 12?
Okay.
We have a motion to approve additionals 1 through 12 by Mr. Wathen, seconded by Mr. Cox. There's further discussion. None being, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
I move to approve.
Next, yes, the next
transfer
item,
for clerk.
we have one transfer.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Wathen, motion to approve. Second.
So moved.
Mr. Wyeth, second. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Other business. First item is the Sheriff's Commissary Fund Report for July 1 through the end of 2024.
Any questions?
Are there any questions for the sheriff?
One quick question. Jack, this is what you'll be using for your extracurriculum venture to DC in regards to Fred?
There's a resolution on there.
Do we need a motion on that? I think it's just a recognizing it.
Acknowledgement.
So we're acknowledging it, and we don't have to take a vote. Okay, thank you. Next, though, we have the sheriff's jail meal breakdown from 12/28 of '23 until 12/25 of '24.
I apologize, it's actually attached to the commissary.
I think, that's probably another one, recognized acceptance. Any comments, anyone? Okay. Next is Health First Final Calendar Year 2025 Budget Allocation.
How many years is the state funding that? What was their bill? Do you remember?
It's 2 years at a time.
Okay.
So we had appropriation, or they had given us 24 and 25, and then this spring they're debating the next 2 years.
Okay.
So that'll probably be in the legislative budget.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there is a bill that would provide funding after these funds are expended.
Any other questions? Thank you. Community Corrections Calendar Year 2025 Payment Schedule. Questions on that or discussion? Okay, none being, our last item, the Innkeepers Fund Report, June 1, 24 to 11/30 of 24. Any questions, discussion? I don't think there's anyone here for us.
When do we when do we have to allocate those funds? Because don't we do like 50?
Middle of the year.
Middle of the year, okay.
Yeah. That must be why it's 6/1/24.
Yep.
No comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at our end of our meeting? There being none, Mr. Cox,
I don't have anything.
Ms. Marsh,
We received a draft from Aaron about policy. I don't know if it came yesterday, so I don't know if she wants to say anything, but
I think it's a draft and
Right.
not on
So
it, so
just
it's for us to take under
mull over.
advisement.
Okay.
Or anything else?
Larry, are you gonna talk about,
But
no, go ahead, or, well, when you get there, legislation?
Yes, I've got a couple of comments on that too. Mr. Wyatt?
I think that's the big thing, is just to see what happens with the legislature right now.
Mr. Wathen?
Yep, just wanted to let everybody know, I don't have any intention to do business with the county, but due to the nature of my business, I did file a conflict of interest form. The form changed this year, and there's not a place on it to check annual disclosure, so I kind of just wrote that in some of the blanks. We'll see how it works, but I'm supposed to give it to you guys too, but I forgot to bring it. I will email it out to everybody and give it to Ann so she can keep it in the file. Just want to let that known. And then highway garage bidding, when's that happen? When should it due?
Second commissioners meeting in February.
So it'll be after our meeting in February then, so yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, the plans are, the advertisement's going out this week, I think.
Okay, cool. That's all I got.
Mr. Hessen?
yes, I distributed copies of the summary, really, of Senate Bill 1, and it's kind of disappointing. I've heard our new governor is not particularly knowledgeable about county government, and this Senate Bill 1 is proof of that. This is the governor's agenda as far as taxation. It's being carried by Senator Holman, but it's what he's been given by the governor. If you'll look at it, it's the governor is not happy with county government. He's indicated that county government is very inefficient and wasteful, which is not true. But that's his belief. He's proposing, if you look at page 3, and I've highlighted the counties, the impact on counties, it'd be a net loss to counties overall for 2026 of $211 million statewide. And then it jumps up to 251 to 257 million in calendar year 2027, and then 287,000 to 299, sorry, not thousand, million, for calendar year 2028. The impact on Hendricks County can be found on page 4. And these figures are the total loss for units, taxing units in the county. And I don't know, Nancy, you may know about what the county's share is the total.
Less than 10%.
Less than 10%. So that being the case for calendar year 2026, the impact would be a loss to the county and funds of in excess of $4 million. And then you can see it increases then in 2027, 2028. I don't know where we would find where we would cut that much money from our budget. And I'm concerned too about other governmental units, including schools. It's a disaster, really. So the County Councils Association is taking a position in opposition to Senate Bill 1 and encouraging all of us to contact our respective senators, but not just the senators, but also our representatives, to express our concern and our opposition to this bill. It's not well considered, and I don't think local government is going to be able to survive and provide the services that are necessary if this were to be passed. There are some other considerations, one of which there's a bill that would have the county take over the responsibility for fire protection and for EMS. And here, and it would, in essence, do away with the township government, except for, I think one of the bills would leave poor relief at the county, or at the township level, and care of cemeteries, but everything else would come to the county. Not clear how the counties would pay for the existing, or for what would become the obligation of the counties. There are several bills regarding the change with respect to the township government, and I'm not sure which, if any of those, would be successful, but it's something to watch. It could very well give us an additional financial responsibility with, at this point, no increased revenue to pay for it. There's also, well, there are a number of pieces of legislation, one of which would separate our income taxes. The county would have its income taxes. And then other units, towns would have separate authorization. So the towns could impose their own tax, and we would not be sharing then the income we would receive from the county income tax. Well, I'll just stop there. Nancy, anything you'd like to add?
There's also House Bill 1402, that it's just all a disaster. Eventually getting rid of township trustees again, and maybe even the assessing, if we went strictly to income tax, it just goes on, shifting, which is always a bad idea. So,
Yeah. In essence, would also do away, several of the bills would do away with taxes on businesses
oh yeah, that's
and shift that to residential and to income taxes.
the bill on county taking over EMS and fire, the one, I don't know if it was SB1, puts the county emergency management as the chief
Yeah.
of, say, 6 fire departments in the township area, so it's dramatic changes that it's very scary.
So here's a question I have for you, Larry and Nancy, since you're both with AIC. This, what I see here, Larry, there's 5 other counties that's gonna take a bigger hit than we, based on this right here.
Right, yeah.
And what I don't understand about that is how in the heck is Tippecanoe County about half of what we are, or what this proposal is? Evidently Purdue University must get all X'd out being a state university,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So they probably lose all of that funding. Who knows what other kinds of things that Purdue could have their name on, and I'm just using it as an example. But even Vanderburgh being in Evansville, they're the same amount. So I just question how they come up with that formula that we're taking such a big hit.
Yeah. Well, I don't have an answer for you.
When I look at size of the population, you know, with us, Tippy and Vanderburgh, I think Porter, is it Elkhart maybe? Yeah, Elkhart, sort of, we all sort of rival, you know, based on our populations. And I just sort of find that unique a little bit. It looks like we're being picked on.
Well, I'm sure there's some logic there. I don't know what it is, but there's some logic there.
Go ahead.
One other thing, there's a bill which would give us a statewide veteran service. Make a statewide organization for veteran service officers. The state would select those officers for each county and set their pay, do the training, and then the counties would pay the state then for those salaries. It's kind of like the situation with the probation officers, where the probation officers earlier state employees, and the state tells us what we have to pay, and it's a copy of that in many respects. It's taking away our local discretion and placing that with a state organization. So these are all things you need to be aware of, but particularly with Senate Bill 1, please contact your respective senator and representative.
Senator Clark has contacted me, asking me some questions about Senator Clark, our new state senator.
Oh, yes.
He has called me and asked me about specific numbers in Hendricks County. So he said he don't want to be the lone guy saying no, so
No.
he's trying to figure it out. So he's working hard, and he will be a good resource.
And Senator Buchanan, who represents the northern part of Hendricks County, he was a county council member out of Boone County. So I would hope to think that he would understand this and the impact of that, because Boone County is actually losing a lot of money right now with that LEAP project.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he'll hear it from both sides. But I have Brian's number, so I'll reach out to Brian.
Larry, if you would just take one pass. Thank you.
Mr. Parsons?
The only thing I have is that I was
reached out to an individual from AT&T asking about signing a letter for broadband support. Apparently there's some kind of a grant that the state has to partially fund broadband support to reach into rural areas. I don't honestly feel that it's appropriate for me, being a newbie, if you will, to take this on, but I wanted to share with you guys in case that anybody else wanted to, or thought it was important enough to take action with. My phone number's down there on the bottom. I can give you more background, and if you want, you can reach out. But he just, apparently there's a time issue with this. I believe it's probably due at the end of this month. So there's about a week and a half that he has to have some support, because without it, he cannot apply for the grant. So I just bring that up for you folks in case any of you have any interest in it.
Are the Board of Commissioners, aware of this AT&T thing?
Yes, we were.
So you guys know?
We were, and we did not take any action on it at our meeting, other than we didn't feel like it was necessary to sign that letter of support for them.
Because we have other providers in the rural area, right?
There are.
Because I think that's been going on for a couple, 3 years.
Broadband, including AT&T, is in many areas of the county, and the coverage is good. Now, the main piece of this that seems to be the issue is AT&T needs the support of the counties to get the grant to do this. And I think that's what the real issue is. If they don't get county letter of support saying we support what you're trying to do, then they're not gonna get this grant money. And I don't know. We can rethink our no action on it, quite frankly.
But I think they would need to do a presentation to us to better understand what the ask is.
And the gentleman that sent that, I guess the state president of AT&T or whatever, he really doesn't take no for an answer.
But you did give him no.
We did.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks, Chuck. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Stark?
I'm happy to be here, and I may not know where or how to get information that you guys all need, but if you're patient with me, I'll be happy to look into it and get back to you as soon as possible. You can email me anytime of day. So if you guys need anything, just let me know. I just need to know who wants to go to the legislative conference so that we can register you, and if you want to go both days.
No.
It is February 4th and 5th.
You'll have to put up with me also. So. Ms. Alcieri? No. No further discussion. We are adjourned. I guess you're supposed to do that.
Do we need to sign over?